Okay, so this is a good example of a pretty average looking Khipu. It's a little bit bigger than um, Khipus are on average, but it's a good representative of it. So pretty much what a Khipu is, I talked a little bit about in this website about how they were used as kind of a messaging system, a writing system, a record keeping system. It's basically all the writing that the Inca Empire used. And they actually use this in the a few of the civilizations before them as well, but this is where we have the majority of them, along with the Inca roads being made by the Inca. They were used a lot more during this time because of the infrastructure they needed. So pretty much this top rope right here is kind of like the spine or the backbone of all of this information. This segment is actually different, and I'll explain that in a second. So pretty much what a quipu was these strands of rope that come off of this bigger strand right here. And each of these strands, as you can see, has little tiny knots on them. It's a little blurry when I zoom in, but you can see some of them we can translate right away. So right here, there's two little loops, and that would correspond to number 2. Over here, same thing, 2 loops, number 2, and down here, 1. So that's just this one strand actually holds a lot of information. So on this strand, it works the exact same way our number system works. So if you have the number 2 next to number 2 next to number 1, in our number system, that would equal number 221 because it's in the hundreds place, tens place, ones place. It's the exact same way with this thing, where this is 2, 2, 1. This strand equals 221. And so basically, where it is in the hierarchy is what digit it is. And if it's an empty one, it corresponds to the number 0. So right here, we can see it. There's nothing there. So this where there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and nothing else. And it's up here in the hundreds place, that would mean 400. So that's pretty much how the counting of that all works. So there's a lot more to it than just those knots that correspond to numbers. But most of that other information is all theory until we can have concrete evidence of it. The reason that we know so much about the actual numbers and what the numbers mean is because of some mathematicians, starting with Leslie Locke in 1912, that discovered these top chords, which are tied a lot differently than these. See, there's just a little loop, but here there's a whole different knot. These top chords actually total up individual sections or segments. So everything here, let's just say it's 432. Over here on a certain chord, it would have the number 432 after you add them all up. And that's kind of how we reversed it from these top chords. The totals, as it would be in a summary or a Google spreadsheet or an Excel, the totals is pretty much right here. So each one of these strands would equal to a group. Now, there's a whole lot more information held in the materials, the way the rope's twisted, the colors, a whole bunch of different things. For example, the Sapa Inca, which is the Quechua word basically for king, he had like kind of this private stock of llamas, like Queen Elizabeth or the late Queen Elizabeth had a bunch of like certain birds that you couldn't kill in that country because they belonged to the queen. It's the same thing. These llamas were called, pretty sure they're called Suri, and they were like this elite level of llama that belonged only to the king. You couldn't kill it, you couldn't use its wool. So whenever there's a quipu that's made out of that actual wool, we know it's probably, like pretty likely, associated with nobility or the king or someone close to him. So materials matter a lot, color mean a lot. You know, certain colors were harder to get. Some colors, some of the first Spanish documents, like the yellow ones, are thought to have meant gold or, something similar to that. So we're not really sure what the numbers stand for yet. Sometimes they're in burial context, so we can kind of guess if we see something over and over again, it's associated with that kind of group or family or clan, however you want to say it. But that's pretty much how they work. They're really good, like, record keeping devices, pretty much. As far as the linguistical ones, they will have different knots. They're twist, as you see, all these are kind of at a diagonal this way, and that's called the S-ply direction because it's twisted in like that diagonal line. And there's also Z-ply, which go the other way. And the ones that are Z-ply are theorized by people like Dr. Gary Urt and Manny Madrano, Sabine Hyland, to hold linguistical information. More of like actual, writing where there's words, but it's not words, it's not. So it's a little bit harder to translate, but that's what, the future goal is of these projects. Hope that cleared things up.